So this video is a bit different than normally. I would normally not make these kind of videos, but today I thought it'd be interesting discussing about this very interesting individual person who has unfortunately caused a lot of damage and loss in human lives in the Second World War. The reason why Second World War was even actually a thing to begin with, the reason why a large percentage of the Dutch people here don't like him, and I think a lot of Germans also don't like this individual. Now, I don't know if you guys get this kind of history in America. Let me know down in the comments. This video is about Adolf Hitler, probably the most notorious person in history, in a negative way at least. This is something that we discuss every year. It's a yearly thing because of what happened in those times of the Germans taking over the Netherlands and literally almost the whole world. So enjoy this video. His mustache is like iconic, everyone knows him because of that. But Adolf Hitler was an Austrian-born German politician who was a dictator of Germany from 33 to 45. He rose to power as the leader of the Nazi party, becoming a chancellor in 1933 and then assuming the title of Führer and Reichskanzler in 1934. This is the weird thing about Hitler, right? The weird thing about him, he wanted to become, well, it's actually not weird, I think we all got dreams as a little kid, right? He wanted to become a painting artist, like an individual artist. Now, rumors say, or I've heard, my teachers have told me that at least, but I don't really think it's something that is the reason what led up to him doing all these things. Apparently, he blamed the Jewish people for not letting him become a painting artist one day. That's what some of my teachers said. I don't really think that's true. I don't really believe such a thing. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Him alone, what he has caused, and what the Germans have caused. I don't hate the German people. Obviously, it's not the people's fault nowadays of what Hitler's done in the past. But if you're a German, or if you go to the Netherlands, there's not a lot of German people living here. Let me keep it like this. There are a lot of Dutch people that hate Germans because of the past and still blame it on the continuing presence of nowadays. I don't blame these people. They can't do anything about it. Obviously what happened back then, it should never happen, and I hope to God it never will happen, another world war. Can't be asked for that. It must be very, very heavy doing this. But it was really, really sad. And we thank you Americans for helping us, Russians. Japan was, on the other hand, a friend of Germany, and I think Japan and Italy, I think it was. Japan I know for a fact, but I think Italy was also part of Germany, right? But anyways, it don't matter, right? Hitler is a very, very world famous person from back then. So now the question I always like to know, like, who did Hitler surround himself with? See, the thing is here, right? The Germans took over the Netherlands completely. And we were like, okay, do it, because we didn't have no chance to fight. God, we had like fuck all soldiers. They had millions and tens of millions soldiers. We had a couple on 1,000. Yeah, there ain't no way that 500,000 Dutch soldiers are gonna fight against millions of Germans. It just didn't work like that. We were basically neutral, which meant we did not support what they did, but we had literally no choice because of the dangers and powers. We weren't economically as strong as Germany because they had all the mass weapons and productions, women helping with ammunitions, you know, this and that. But also notable were Hermann Göring, who was a leader of the Nazi party and one of the primary architects of the Nazi police state in Germany, Heinrich Himmler, who was second in power to Hitler, Joachim von Ribbentrop, foreign minister and chief negotiator of various treaties, Martin Bormann, who was one of Hitler's. You see, the thing is with Adolf Hitler, he wanted to have power and rule over the whole world, just like majority of these other democratic leaders would, which Adolf Hitler wasn't as democratic as you think he would. But as much as negative as you can speak about Adolf Hitler, one thing that we can't deny is he created opportunities and jobs for the German people. But he didn't do much for the people outside the country. He took over these countries, or tried to, and he accomplished very, very well. Thank fuck that we had support from America. Hitler was ruthless, you see. He didn't care about human lives. He could only care about his own civilization, his own society, his own people. And he was very discriminative and racist as well. Honestly, it's a really sad story. As much as negative as there is, I can't deny the fact that he did create opportunities and jobs for the German people, and maybe even jobs in the Netherlands. Even though we didn't agree with what he did, we had no chance. Like I said, we stood no goddamn freaking chance whatsoever with our tiny little soldier. Hitler, by the way, passed away 30th of April 1945. If you've played Call of Duty, like those stories, a lot of references to like the world wars and stuff. It's very, very cool. The old Call of Duty, not the new crap. So the goal of Hitler was basically taking over the world for himself, building an own kingdom, which I think was called something with Reich. Reich. Adolf Hitler came to power with the goal of establishing a new racial order in Europe dominated by the German master race. This goal drove Nazi foreign policy, which aimed to throw off the restrictions imposed by the Treaty of Versailles, incorporate territories with ethnic German population into the Reich. So he basically wanted his own people in front of the rest. Bro, it's honestly crazy. And the weird thing is his net worth. He's $150 million worth. I don't know if it's an actual thing, but it's quite impressive. But yeah, what ended World War II? Well, it doesn't say when, but it says when. September 1945. And this is a reason why we celebrate this every year of freedom. You see, a lot of people may think that freedom is a thing everyone has. Unfortunately, not true. Not everyone in this world can say that they have got freedom. And freedom doesn't just exist of going and being able to go outside your house. Freedom is also being allowed to believe in what you think. Being a Christian, being a Muslim, being Hindu. Freedom is also being allowed to eat what you want to. Chicken, this and that. Yeah, halal, this and that. I know for a fact some places probably don't even have these things because they don't like it. Freedom is also being entitled to do what you want to and say what you want to without having to think of the potential consequences of getting arrested, which in Russia they do. Got negative feedback on the president, your ass getting fucking arrested. If you are gay, you get beaten to death or stuff. It's disgusting. I don't want to necessarily say respect those decisions because I don't, but I do accept the fact that you see that this is how some people do, unfortunately. I don't agree with it personally, but it's none of my concerns, is it? It's not a good sign, obviously, because that's not how democratic countries should work. They should always aim for everyone doing their own thing. But I guess it's just how some countries work. I'm not just saying that only Russia does it. No, God, no. You got a lot of other countries as well. But freedom is also being allowed to do what you want to, express your emotions and feelings. You see, we shouldn't take freedom for granted. Here, at least in the Netherlands, every year during the beginning of May, we have at 8 o'clock we have silence for 2 minutes before those who fought for our freedom. See, if it weren't for them fighting for our freedom, we might have not had freedom in this era. We might have still being under Germans' possession. That's scary to think about that, man. And by the way, for your information, the Jewish people were required to wear a Jewish star. They were not allowed to go to certain places. Jewish people were required to wear a Jewish star, so that meant like a badge, which basically meant that other people that saw them, okay, they're Jews. And it was actually, I think, illegal to interfere with a Jewish person. They had their own times. They had their own times to go open. They had their own places to go to. They basically weren't allowed to share anything else with society. It's really sad. It's how it went. Goddamn, I don't agree with none of it. And I'm very, very glad that this is over. And I hope this will never happen again. But this was all because of Hitler's things. Hitler was very ruthless, man. For your information as well. But Keegan, I do wonder, you Dutch people, right? Well, what were you called if you worked with the Germans? In the Netherlands, we would call you an NSB'er, which basically means you are working for the enemies, the opposition. You're a rat, basically, which means you are not helping your country, but you are helping the enemies, which you aren't meant to work. You've also had people that would take shelter for Jewish people, and that was highly illegal. That was very illegal and a very, very dangerous thing. You might have heard of Anna Frank, which was, she was, I think, under the bunker for a while, and then her house got raided, Amsterdam, I think it was, and her butler or something told on her, and they all went to concentration camps. Most people went to concentration camps, which went through the Netherlands, the north of Netherlands, to German, through Poland, and you know how all their lives ended. I, by the way, watched The Boy in a Striped Pajama. If you've never watched that movie or audio or book, it's very heavy. It's very, very sad. It's very messed up. I cried. Like, goddamn it, I cried. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, that audio. I listened to the audio back then for school, which were required for an exam to surpass that year. But that was heavy. The Boy in a Striped Pajama, which is also about the Second World War, about a boy in a pajama striped in a concentration camp with another kid. He was outside. His father was a leader on the concentration camp. Very messed up. I don't want to speak too much about it, but it's quite heavy. You should definitely go ahead and check it out. It's very educational, very informative, but Second World War is no joke. Unfortunately, you do have people within society that do joke around and stuff, think it's not important. Historical moments like these should never be forgotten, and these people that have fought for our freedom should never be forgotten, and thank God that they're not. Holy fuck, if it weren't for these people, we wouldn't be in a country like this probably nowadays. But just think about it. If Second World War had never happened, none of this would have happened. None of these innocent lives would have been taken away. And by the way, Germany were, after the Second World War, required to pay all the country's property damage. So they had to pay in gold mines and stuff like that because of damage day, of course, which makes sense. So if you're wondering how did the Germans lose, the Germans' ruthless requisition of few industrial facilities and labor from France and other countries reduced the economies of the jaded parts of Europe, sorry, very difficult word, to such a state that they were unable, and with their workers becoming even more refractory, unwilling to contribute significantly to German war. So they were basically bankrupt of all the money that they had invested into the army. On September the 1st, 1939, Hitler invaded Poland from the west. 2 days later, France and Britain declared war on Germany, beginning World War. That's when it all started. All these years before were him building up, not even a hype, just building up the massive army, building up the confidence of his people, and how all his plans started. Now, this is the weird thing, right? Well, actually not weird. Within the German leaders as well, you had someone who tried to assassinate Hitler as well during a meeting. That didn't work, unfortunately, with a bomb in a briefcase. The table saved Hitler's life, so trust me, there were a couple of attempts of Hitler's own people, which didn't end well for those. How many passed away in World War II? 75 million people passed away in World War II, including 20 million military personnel and 40 million civilians, many of whom passed away because of deliberate genocide, massacres, massive bombings, disease and starvation. Yeah, that's true. It's very heavy, man. God knows if this video is going to get monetized. I would assume not, but I've tried to keep in as many negative things, but heavy though. It's very heavy, man. Hitler caused a lot of damage. Now, I'm not saying that I hate Germans, not at all, but it's not nice what happened in the past. I can't blame, and you can't really blame any Germans in this present for what happened past. It's not their goddamn fault. It's not like they asked for what Hitler did. Hitler had bad plans. I want to say good plans, but he didn't. I know the attack of Japan on Hawaii or something, or somewhere submarine in the US base. I think it was Hawaii. I think I'm not mistaken. No, I think that's the reason why America attacked Japan, which is also very, very heavy. Sorry for those losses. This may not have been taught to you, but they also tried to invade Africa. My grandfather survived Second World War. He was in England, even though England weren't like under attack. I think England did attack though. Our queen at the time in Second World War fled to England. Koning Wilhelmina, I think her name was, Queen Wilhelmina. She fled from the Netherlands to the UK, which we thought that she had abandoned her, but she was actually trying to gather as many troops to come back to the Netherlands. And thank God, we owe a lot of people, I find. You see, the freedom is something, it's priceless. You can be rich but be in prison, but you can't do nothing with your money. Freedom is really priceless, and that's why I find these kind of subjects so important within society. That's why I think, after I've done my school, how important history actually is. History is really important for us, and I hope to God that you guys have history in America as well. I'm not sure if you guys have this about Hitler, this and this and that, but history is super duper important, man. It is. Honestly, if it weren't for history, I would have not known these things 100%. Obviously, yeah, you can Google it up, but it's not in chronicle forwarders, you know. But yeah. Anyways, I want to thank you all so much for watching this video on today's channel on Keegan Sparker. Sorry, I'm all over the place today, but hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments below what your opinion is on this subject, and thank you so much for watching. As I said in the beginning of this video, this may be a little bit viewer discretion is advised, because it could be potentially triggering some flashbacks if you've been in the World War. My condolences to you and your family, obviously. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Peace out, man.